Between the ages of 16 and 24, which is when I started the company, I had 10 different jobs. So I was effectively unemployable. So I had to come up with my own company so I could, keep a job. Looking back on it now, I'm actually glad I didn't know how hard it was going to be because I might not have done it. The lesson was add value first and then expect to be rewarded later. And we do that today with our clients.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Amanda Marlowe, and today we are joined by the founder and president of C4 Communications, Colomobo DiSalvatore. Thank you so much for being here.
Great to be here, Amanda. Thanks for having me.
We're really excited to dive in and learn about your story. But first, I really want to start. Tell us, what is C4 Communications?
Sure. So C4 Communications is a telecommunications consulting company founded in 2001. We help small businesses, mid-sized companies evaluate, select, implement, and then manage telecommunications solutions.
How did you come up with this? I mean, I know you've got an interesting backstory, but this company is your brainchild. So tell me about it.
Well, it wasn't something that I thought I would be doing. I fell into the opportunity. But the reason I fell into the opportunity is because of what I learned from my dad growing up. He had a marketing company. I grew up in that entrepreneurial environment, and he always encouraged me to work for myself. So I was actually thinking about it the other day. Between the ages of 16 and 24, which is when I started the company, I had 10 different jobs. So I was effectively unemployable. So I had to come up with my own company so I could, keep a job basically.
Your dad saw your characteristics and said, I don't know if anyone's going to hire you.
Exactly. He knew I needed to be the boss. So, but I kind of fell into working in the telecommunications industry. And then I came across this particular business opportunity of becoming a telecommunications consultant. And I saw the opportunity to do that for myself and put those two things together.
Let's dive a little deeper into that. So when you first kind of fell into the industry, tell us about that.
So my first job actually in telecommunications was working for Bell Atlantic Mobile back when we were selling flip phones, the StarTacs, if you remember those. So I was working in that space, got recruited by somebody into the telecommunication agency world. And I learned that there were independent agents that were representing different telecommunication providers and selling those services to businesses. And that really interested me. And it was a chance for me to start my own company. So I took the plunge at the age of 24 with very little business experience, a lot of, excitement and passion to have my own company, and very little understanding of what would be involved with actually doing that. But I'm looking back on it now, I'm actually glad I didn't know how hard it was going to be because I might not have done it.
Yeah, you might have been straight away, but now you've pushed through, and here we are today. And so, in that range from your first job at 16 to 24, held a lot of different positions. Do you feel like you learned something from each one? And you had no formal education beyond that point, right?
Right. I learned a lot of things that I didn't want to do through all those different jobs. And probably what I learned the most was working for my parents' business. So I worked for them for a while until they fired me, which is the best thing they ever did. But I learned a lot about marketing. I learned a lot about business ownership, working for my parents and just growing up in that entrepreneurial environment. I remember my dad telling us from an early age, I have two other brothers, he always was telling us this. He said, Colombo, the person that makes the most money at a company is the person that owns the company. And that really stuck with me. But he also made this point of trying to find a business where you could make some sort of residual or some sort of royalty income. So I had that kind of piece, that little nugget that he gave me growing up. And that was great advice that he gave me. I'm really grateful for that advice. So,
and you were someone that really wanted to see that cause and effect. Like, if I do this, this is what can happen for me.
Exactly. And it's interesting because in a couple of my jobs, I was in some larger corporations where I was getting the results I thought I was there to do, but that wasn't necessarily the requirement to keep my job. There was a lot of other political things that I wasn't really good at, being a young hothead, so to speak. So
tell me, once you kind of decided to get into this space, launch your own business, you were solo for a bit of time.
Yeah. So I started the company when I was 24 years old, and I ran the business by myself for almost 10 years, with the exception of my sister-in-law came to work with me, and she gave me some help, which was great. But it was pretty much me and her for the first 10 years, and it was a great lifestyle business to get started. At the time, my wife Amy and I, we had 6 children in that period of time, so we have a large family. So having a kind of small lifestyle, manageable business was great for raising a family. And I'm super grateful for that period of time.
And you probably got to do that thing that everyone has learned about during the pandemic, work from home.
Yeah. So C4 is a virtual company. And I can tell you about the way that started, actually. I remember sitting in my basement of our first home where I had started the company. And it's probably about 18 months into the company. And I was talking to Amy and I said, "Hey, Amy, I've got this opportunity to go down into downtown Manchester and open an office. It won't cost me anything. My brother-in-law actually offered to give me some space that he had and just let me set up shop in there. And he wasn't even going to charge me rent until I could afford to do it." And I thought that's what you had to do when you had a business, is you needed to have an office.
Great opportunity. You felt like you could get out of the house.
Exactly.
But maybe not.
So my wife, bless her heart, who was at that point, we had 2 young children. She started to cry. And she's like, if you go into the office, I will never see you. Because at that point, like a lot of business owners and entrepreneurs, I was working day and night to try to get this business off the ground. And at that moment, something kind of clicked inside of me that's like, you know what? I'm not going to start an office. I'm not going to open an office. I will stay here. We don't need to have clients come see us. I can work from home and I can be around my family. And so that's when we really officially became a virtual company. And that was years before the pandemic. But I'm so glad that I was able to do that. And I really captured a lot of moments with my kids that I may not have captured otherwise. So
what do you think how helps you succeed in that space? Even I think sometimes what happened at the beginning of the pandemic even was like some executives were working from home for the first time and couldn't quite figure out that balance.
It is tough to find the balance. And the balance is actually one of the core values at C4. And it's kind of an aspirational balance, because what I struggled with is trying to find the right work-life balance, because work can very much dominate if you're a hard worker and if you're possibly a workaholic. It's hard to find that balance of turning it off. So I had to be really intentional at a point to turn off the work and to stop working, to make sure that I didn't sneak down into the basement or sneak into my office now when it's time to be with the kids. One thing that helped me is having 6 children and 6 hockey schedules and dance schedules. And, we had a very demanding schedule for the kids. And that kind of pulled me out of work, and it really engaged me in doing what they were doing and being part of those activities. So
that's awesome. And glad you were able to be a part of that. 10 years in, and then there's some growth happening. Let's go there.
Sure. So, at one point in the business, I started to realize that as we started to grow and as we started to bring on more clients, I just needed help. And I realized that if I was going to hire people to come work with me, that I needed to kind of shift out of that lifestyle business mode into more of a growth mode business, because it's a responsibility if people are going to join your team. I wanted to be able to give them a clear vision of where the company was going. I wanted to give them opportunity to grow within the company as well. And while we're not trying to become a billion-dollar company, I thought it was really important that we did have kind of a plan. So the first thing that we did is we hired a couple full-time employees, and we started to build a structure around how we were going to do things and what our future plans were. So,
And that point, you kind of had to shift your mindset, right? From me being one person, all about this helping the clients. And now, okay, I have employees to look after and shepherd and also grow the business at the same time. What were some of the, challenges that you faced at that point in making that shift?
Yeah. So that shift has been happening progressively for me over the years. Craig Groeschel is a pastor and a leadership podcast host that has a great saying that says, one of his quotes is, "You can have control or you can have growth, but you can't have both." And that's a lesson I've really been trying to learn over the years, because I really did pride myself on doing things with excellence. And I do sometimes get confused with excellence and Colombo's way of doing things. They're not necessarily the same thing, but in my mind, they were. So I had to learn that there were people out there that could actually deliver excellence, and they could even do it differently than the way that I did it. And that's been one of my biggest challenges, is to give people the freedom to do it a different way. And what I have actually found is that when I've been able to do that on occasion, and I still struggle with this, is that there's actually people that can do it better.
You have to keep reminding yourself of that, right?
Every day. Every day.
Is there anything that you find to help you with that? Like, just to keep bringing your mind back center, or looking at the success stories of some of your employees? What do you kind of do to keep remembering?
One of the things that helps me remember is I get a lot of very positive, unsolicited feedback from our clients about my team, which I'm extremely grateful for. And when I get a comment like that from, either one of the partners we work with or one of our clients, I'm just reminded of what an amazing group of people that have, been willing to come work for me. And I'm reminded that they are talented people, and I need to make sure that they have the space to grow and to use those talents and to not be held back by my limited thinking at times. So.
Awesome. I like that. Now, in terms of the business itself, we keep talking about the pandemic, but it really changed a lot. And specifically for businesses, this level of, communication and those lines changed significantly. So how has your business model adapted to that and to helping your clients?
So when the pandemic hit, it was interesting because we were all working from home. I think there was about 5 of us on the team when it hit. We were all working from home, and we didn't miss a beat, which was great because we help our clients with their communication systems, and their needs were pretty acute for a period of time there, as everybody was trying to set their employees and their teams to be able to work from home. We were actually positioned well to help them do that, because a lot of our clients had a system that could be set up for remote workers, and we just had to help them turn it on or set it up. And
they just weren't using it.
They just weren't using it yet. So not all of them. Some of our clients hadn't made the shift to a cloud phone system, which is one of the core services that we sell. So we had to quickly help a few of our clients get that set up for them so that they could have their teams work from home as well. So
now, a couple of years later, how have things evolved even more? Kind of what's the landscape like that you see it?
Yeah, so I think it's an interesting time for a lot of our clients. They rushed to put a solution in or to stand up or start to use an existing solution to meet the immediate demand of COVID, but maybe it wasn't exactly the best system for them. And now that they've been using it for several years and a lot of those contracts are coming up for renewal, we're helping our clients say, what's really the best for your business right now? And do we just need to modify the solution that you have? Or do we need to go back to the marketplace and find you a different solution that's really what you need? And now that we've got time, we're not under the gun, let's be thoughtful about this and let's explore different options and make sure we get you the best solution for you and your team.
Is that what you think maybe is like the biggest challenge businesses are facing right now with connectivity, is figuring out what level they need and adapting, or is there another challenge that kind of outweighs that?
I think one of the biggest challenges with communication systems is that there are too many systems, ways to collaborate or to communicate that are being used within an organization. So it's really about trying to consolidate down to the right solution so that everybody's on one platform.
Well, you have, some people saying, I like this one better. I like this one better. Do you guys do a lot of, like, what support do you give to companies to help them kind of streamline that? Or a lot of it is, encouraging their employees to learn something new, right?
Yeah, we can only go so far in what we can do to help. But so we have solution consultants at C4 Communications, and what the solution consultants do is they sit down with the businesses and try to help them understand what they have today, what they're using in their business, what the business challenges are, and really where they would like to go in the future. And then we go to the marketplace and we say, here are several different options that are available to you. Let's evaluate these, and then we'll help implement that. So the help that we give businesses is just to understand what they have today and what's available to them, and work with them to figure out what's the best solution. So that's where I think we can offer a lot of help to our clients. So
the demand is high there as well.
The demand is high there. And there's some confusion because there's so much technology out there, and there's a lot of small business owners who are just trying to run their business. They may have even a small IT staff, but they don't have staff that specializes in telecommunications. It doesn't really make sense for a lot of businesses to carry, telecom expertise in their, on staff, because it's only something that you need, every couple of years when you're designing a system, or when that system breaks, you need support for it. So we augment a lot of businesses, smaller, mid-sized companies that aren't big enough to have an on-staff telecom expert.
And I think with connectivity, you can't forget about cybersecurity. What role has that played, in your line of work, and what you're seeing in terms of how businesses are thinking about applying, new technology and in connection? Yeah.
So cybersecurity is very important, top of mind for many business owners and IT leaders. And it's very important when it comes to connectivity and cloud communications or cloud services in general. So because we specialize in cloud communications and in connectivity, we have to understand how security impacts those services. We need to make sure that our clients are caring for the security needs when it comes to their connectivity. So we have an indirect kind of consultative approach to make sure that, hey, we've got this connectivity solution. Let's make sure that your security services are going to be covering that and protecting that exposure. And we also do have some cloud security service providers that we represent as well. So if we're working with a business that has a gap there, we can actually source some security solutions to round out and protect our connectivity and cloud communication solutions as well.
Wow. So it's something that's certainly evolving, and you have to evolve with it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
and, in terms of your everyday now, you've grown a bit. How many employees are working with you now? So
with the team, if you include me, we're up to about 9 folks. So, and we're all remote, and that's still working good.
And as you continue to kind of look at the business model, work on all of these new opportunities for businesses in terms of, connection and programming, but you also get to deal with the people now too. What do you think is your favorite part of your everyday?
So I really enjoyed and still enjoy being one of C4 Communications solution consultants, because I love the technology. I don't know why, but this technology just kind of clicked for me. I understood it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed learning about it, and I like problem solving. So when I get to work with our business clients, I enjoy that. I love uncovering a big, hairy problem and finding a couple different ways to solve it and working with that client to solve that. But the other thing I really enjoy doing, and it's one of the reasons I was committed to shifting the company away from just being myself, is I do enjoy building the company and working with the people and watching, finding good people, finding that they, finding the right spot for them within the company and help developing a team. It's so encouraging to, see how our team operates. We're a small team, but it's so neat to see everybody kind of operating in their strengths. They're doing stuff that they love. Some of the stuff that they do is stuff I hate. So that's a win-win. Then to get the feedback, like I said earlier, from our clients of, man, so-and-so did such an awesome job. I mean, that's great feedback. And that's just really encouraging as a business owner to get that type of feedback. So
in terms of building a culture, you've got a small but mighty team, but you also work pretty remote. So how do you help kind of build that culture, encourage people, that there's growth opportunities to stay? What have you found that works best?
Well, one thing that's really helped us is to really leverage the services that we help our clients with, which is collaboration services particularly. So we use Microsoft Teams to communicate internally and externally with our clients. And we are on video conferencing all day long with our team. And I could probably argue that we're more face-to-face with our team than some people that work for the largest Fortune, 100 companies out there. We turn the cameras on. We spend a lot of time collaborating. We are very tight. We've got simple things like we've got this thing called the daily chat, which is just a channel within Teams where we're just touching base and sharing about our, a softball win that one of the kids had on the team, or I like to share pictures of my granddaughter, who I have a 6-month-old granddaughter. So I love throwing those in the chat once in a while. So that's been a great way just to keep the culture open and communicative between our team. So, and
just kind of to encourage that communication beyond just, the everyday work chat, right?
Yeah, just personal stuff. And one of our core values is balance and supportive work environment. So again, it's aspirational in the sense that we typically probably work a little bit too hard. I want my team to really, have that good work-life balance. But I remember one of the folks, actually, one of the folks that's been with me the longest, she said it best when she said, "I feel like you guys have my back." And that meant so much to me because that's what I want the culture to be. So I think it's probably the benefit of being a smaller company, but we definitely have that right now, which is priceless. So,
and in that sphere, I'm sure there's relationships that have been made between different colleagues. I'm sure you've had some mentees under you. But in your experience, you've worked primarily alone. Or have there been any people in your life, any mentors, in business or personal that have really helped carry you?
One of them is a gentleman right here in Connecticut. His name is Steve Rue, and he started a company called Innovative Computer Systems. And he was actually a client of mine when I started C4 Communications back in 2001. And when I went to Steve and told him about the idea of what I was doing, he's like, "That's a great idea. You should do that business." And that little encouragement was critical at the time. Now, he didn't end there. He went on to say, and as a matter of fact, we have a lot of businesses that we service all their IT services that need those services. And I will introduce you to these businesses. And he did that very thing. And that was really the beginning of our customer base, is because we worked closely with an IT company, and he opened the door for us to go in and sell our services.
Power of networking.
Super, super important. And it's still kind of one of our go-to-market strategies today is we work closely with MSPs in the state who don't deliver connectivity or cloud services or cloud communication services. And we partner with them to fill that gap for their clients. I'm grateful for guys like Steve that were there at the right time and that were put into my path. So
and saw something in you that maybe you didn't even have the confidence to fully comprehend.
He absolutely did. As a matter of fact, I remember 3 or 4 years into the business, I was just sharing with him how the business was doing. And he said, "You really have a great business there." And it took hearing it from somebody else to fully believe it.
As you look to the future, maybe not just for your company, but for yourself, are there any things that you're most looking forward to or that you'd like to challenge yourself to attain?
So, as I mentioned, building the company is very exciting to me. And the years that I've operated on my own as a solution consultant and being able to build a book of business and have some passive income and residual incomes, it really gave me a lot of freedom and flexibility, not only to be with my family and have good work-life balance, but also to just kind of operate from a place of, not needing to make a sale or force any technology down our clients' throats. It's a great place to be able to tell our clients, listen, we're going to help you come up with a solution. And if it's not till next year, no problem. If that's the right thing for your business, we support that. And it's just great to be able to operate from that place, not being anxious and needing to, force a technology down. So that whole business model worked really well for me. And what I'm excited about is to pay that forward and to help some other folks on my team, particularly solution consultants, basically duplicate what I was able to do. So I'm excited to take the next few years to help a few other folks have that type of lifestyle, build that type of book of business, and just work off of the experience that I had to develop them as solution consultants.
And, kind of as we just talked about some of your mentors and how they really helped shape you in a similar way of giving back.
Yeah. And I really enjoy that. There's I've had some great relationship with some business mentors, and I love to help others grow, and whether they're on my team or whether they're other business owners that I can help as well. So,
and you mentioned you've got several children, but you also work for have grown this company that you can be totally remote. Why stay in Connecticut? What do you love about this state? Why do you keep it home for the business for you?
I mean, I'm a New Englander. I love Connecticut. I love the seasons of Connecticut. I love the shoreline. I'm one of those weird guys that just drives down 84 sometimes and looks at the landscape. I'm like, this is beautiful. Not everybody in my family feels that way, but I do. But I also like the business climate of Connecticut. It's we do business with clients all over the country. Most of our clients are based somewhere between New York City and Boston. And the majority of our clients are based right here in Connecticut. And I've done business in other markets, and it's different. I've done business in different markets that are a little more cutthroat. And there's something about relationships matter in Connecticut. It's a small market. Your reputation matters. People care about meeting face to face and having a personal relationship with who they do business with. And because we like to operate like that, I think Connecticut's a great place for us to continue to do business and to grow this business.
Yeah, that's really something special about the business community here in Connecticut. Just the level, I think, we talk about connectivity, but really just the level of connection between business leaders and wanting to know who you're working with and, support the little guy as well.
Yeah. And it's been great being part of CBIA these last few years, because I think I've always felt this way, but I think CBIA has really kind of captured that and just really made that clear that there is something special about the Connecticut business market that is unique, and it's something that I really want to lean into as we continue to grow the business. So
that's something that we love to hear, certainly. And as I know, we've done a little bit of reflection already, you talking about your dad and some of the lessons that he taught you, but is there something that, a lesson that you've really taken away that, has helped you in your most challenging days, that you'd like to share with other business leaders?
Yeah. So one of the lessons, there's a couple actually, but one that comes to mind is this lesson or this concept of delayed gratification. And when my dad told me about, residual income and building something that is going to, he basically said it this way: find a business that you can do the work once and continue to get paid for it. And that was kind of a great idea. Now, the flip side of that is, he said, when you do the work up front, you're not going to get paid for it. So you need to be willing to do the work first and then get paid after. And we do that today with our clients. We try to go into our clients, we try to add value, help solve problems. And we know that if we do that, we'll be rewarded over time.
Great. Well, I'm so happy to, have you here on the BizCast and, sharing all this knowledge. We really, really appreciate your time today.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And thank you for listening to this week's BizCast. You can listen, like, and subscribe to our podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Please leave us a review and let us know if you have ideas for a future podcast. And as always, for more episodes, head on over to CBIA.com.